and welcome back, everyone, welcome back. Welcome to the semi-finals of ESL Open Cup Asia number 210, and if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on how you think this series will unfold, on who you think advances onto the grand finals, as spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our South Korean Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion looking for his revenge, as he did lose to his opponent last night in Master Coliseum. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Mystery Gaming. It is SHIN. Shout out to Schnitzel Smacker in the chat. Did bring up that yesterday we were casting Master Coliseum, and both SHIN and ByuN faced off in a best of 3, and SHIN did take down ByuN 2-0 in that series. Again, those games did go into longer games, and ByuN was having a really hard time getting damage done early on. Remember, ByuN last night, he went for a 2-rack opener like this, and he lost his first Reaper. He lost map control early on, tried to go into drop play, and he was denied at every turn. Just game after game, ByuN, he just had a really hard time hindering the economy of SHIN, and SHIN was just showing up his defensive and late game prowess as SHIN was able to survive. And here on hard lead, we had like a 30-minute game where ByuN was stuck in his corner of the map, going into 4 bases, going into 5 bases, getting into mech ghost. It was a very long game, and SHIN did show that in the late game he did have some better late game army control. But ByuN, I'm sure, is aware of that, and as I mentioned before, I'm sure ByuN wants his revenge. I'm sure he wants to fight back and reclaim his glory. And again, I do think both these players are very comparable. I do think that things can be very close between them. You know, one day we might see a 2-0 in one direction. The next day we can see a 2-0 in the other. But we will see as ByuN does slip into the main. We do see SHIN just getting into a hatch gas pool, focusing on his link speed. Lings arrive just in time to defend. Ooh, we invest into 6 lings actually. Okay, a bit of a more larger investment here from SHIN. Investing into additional lings. KDA charge going to be going up. We do pick off one of those lings at the same time the second Reaper does arrive. And we're going for drones. Don't quite get them. Oh, once again we overextend though. Not the first time this has happened in the past 24 hours. Where ByuN gets a little bit too over-eager with his 2-rax Reaper, and he does lose a Reaper here. He gets 1 Reaper for 1 ling. Not a good trade from ByuN. And just like that, SHIN can expand. SHIN, he takes a 3rd base. There's nothing to stop him, nothing to slow him down. This opener has fallen on its face for ByuN. I get 2 games in a row back against SHIN. We lose the first Reaper. Behind this, we're going into a 3rd CC. 3rd CC before Factory. So it's going to be 3CC 2-1-1. A very economic opener, a very economic follow-up to try to catch up, to try to make up for our earlier losses here in this game. Now, the reason why this is devastating, 2-rax Reaper is designed to give you map control and is designed to delay this 3rd and to contain your opponent. But losing one of these Reapers already, suddenly you lose map control. You lose map control, you lose momentum, and SHIN can freely expand and take this 3rd without any issue. So this opener from ByuN hasn't really been worth it. I mean, obviously from here we're transitioning and we're getting into a faster 3rd base, into a stim timing, into mass marine. There's going to be another opportunity here to bounce back, but it was a rough start. It was a rough start here out of ByuN. He's stuck back at home. Across the map, Roach Warren has been thrown down. SHIN going to be getting into Roach play instead. Going to be getting into Roach Ravager, which is a very secure way to establish yourself in the mid game. It's not as efficient as Ling main, but you can actually fortify yourself, defend, and get into 3-4 base economy, and then get into Ling main thereafter. It's a more defensive style. You can be aggressive with it, don't get me wrong. We'll see how SHIN approaches this. We'll see if he uses these Roaches as a stepping stone or if he commits with Roach Ravager. Basically, we're looking for range upgrades. If we throw down 2 Evo Chambers and invest into +1 range, that is a sign that SHIN wants to be hyper aggressive with Roach Ravager. And obviously if he cuts warriors. Behind this, we're just going to be droning on up, establishing ourselves, getting into our gases. ByuN back at home. With this 3CC 2-1-1, because of the opener, this is delayed, but we will soon be active with Metavacs. Because of this build, ByuN hasn't been able to deter the creep. No Hellions, right? No Hellions, no Cyclones, no Reapers. Like, he couldn't really do any damage up until this point. Now, finally, with the arrival of these medevacs, ByuN can push out. And he can look for Queen kills, deny creep, kill Overlords, maybe get into a mineral line. Nice denial of the scout. SHIN does confirm the mass amount of Marines, and he should be getting ready for it, as the drop is about to move out. Here we go, 16 Marine drop. Double medevac moving out across the map. And SHIN back at home. We have a decent amount of roaches. We do have, there we go, some lings in the main. We have roaches in between the bases. And we are getting our 3-base saturation. Meanwhile, we do have, once again, a single Evo chamber for +1 carapace. We saw this yesterday as we attempt to drop into the main. Oh, we attempt to. Not quite able to, though. But this should be leading into a delayed second Evo chamber for +1 range. We should be starting with Roach Ravager, and then we transition into Lingbane. There it is. Ling Speed is on the way to get into Lingbane. Infestation as well for Hive Tech for Adrenal. So SHIN, he's working on the next step. Meanwhile, so far this double drop hasn't achieved any damage. We're going to try and double back into the main, and we do have some Lings and Roaches in position. Only a handful though. SHIN does have vision of his main. There we go. Drop has been revealed. That SHIN does react. Does keep up. So far, SHIN doing a great job of just reading the movement here of ByuN. At the same time, we see ByuN moving out with a couple of Reapers as well on the right-hand side, and he's just establishing his third base. We can see ByuN just focusing on building himself up. Meanwhile, ooh, we have some safety infestors on the way here from SHIN. Let's go. Infestors are on the way. Oh, can we get a drone? We can. One worker kill, not bad. One worker for 2 Reapers, not ideal, but it's better than nothing. As Marines, they do shave off some of these creep tumors. There's that Bailey nest on the way. We spoke about Lingbane. There it is. We have +1 melee in production, so it was just roaches to keep us safe, and then into Lingbane. As SHIN is joining up to 77, soon to be 80 workers. SHIN, he's about to hit the ideal worker count of around 80. We already have the Hive on the way for Adrenal, for Vipers, for Ultras even. We saw that SHIN is very fond of Ultras in this matchup and did do so quite freely last night against ByuN. So we'll see if we take it to Ultras again. Meanwhile, ByuN maneuvering over on the right-hand side. He may catch... Oh my god, he gets caught out actually! Big chain fungals, and the Marines, they get completely cleaned up. 1 Marine does escape, but that was a big pick-off. 15 Marines go down, and SHIN is pushing. At the same time, we have a double drop here towards the left-hand side. ByuN needs SHIN to back up. He needs SHIN to turn back around, as that was a massive pick-off. But the rocks are being knocked down. ByuN is in position. We have 3 tanks. This is a decent tank line. Has a couple of Marines. Double drop still looking for damage. ByuN going to be threatening a push. SHIN threatening a push. ByuN trying to force SHIN to back up, to turn back around. Does get a queen. There's that Ultra Cavern that we spoke about. Again, SHIN has been very fond of going Roach into Lingbane into Ultra. Into Ultra Viper. Has been his go-to. Double drop into the main is deflected. Adrenal's on the way. Kindness plating. 2-2 upgrades. Rocks are being knocked down. There is a very little creep here on the left-hand side. We do need to respread that as soon as possible. We are rebuilding those creeping queens. And ByuN is fortifying himself. Like, even though SHIN had the potential to go for a counterattack, he recognizes the defensive position here. He's not going to test this. Like, there's too many tanks to push in. SHIN would rather try to exploit ByuN when he tries to expand and take a fifth. This center 5th base is a little more exposed. So, why throw away supply trying to break these entrenched positions when you can deny the 5th base over and over again? That is the goal here for SHIN. At SHIN, he's just working on upgrades. Again, he's still working on 2-2, still working on kindness plating. Spire's thrown down. And it looks like we catch the drop once again! We catch the drop. The chain funnel. Can we clean up the Marines? We can clean up half of them. A good chunk of Marines go down. Oh my god. Good move out of SHIN. Once again, just catching ByuN with his pants down twice now. Where are his pants, Pap? They're gone. Not like this. Drop threatens the main base. Again, Spire is on the way. And we see SHIN, he's pushing. Lightning Cloud here on one of those tanks. The other tank does fall to the vials. The Ultras are breaking through. We're breaking through. We're getting on top of the tanks here. The Ghosts, they come out just in time. Some good vials though. And SHIN, that was a good trade. What did we lose? What did we trade? We got 3 tanks. We killed 3 tanks, 6 SCVs. We denied some mining, and we killed a good chunk of Marines. And SHIN from here can back off and remax. He can remax, he can rebuild, he can do it all over again. Meanwhile, ByuN, you can see he is desperately trying to fortify himself, build himself back up. Has to rebuild that tank count, working on 3-3. Scan into the main does reveal the tech, but we already knew about the Ultra Cavern. Does see the Spire, very important. He is aware. 5th base is on the way. You can see that this position is becoming more and more fortified, but the 5th, less so. This is going to be the next target for SHIN, or at least should be. We'll see where he goes. Blinding Clouds can help, of course. As SHIN pushing towards that 4th. 3rd, I mean. Files down the turrets. Turrets do a great job at zoning away those Vipers. SHIN's going to rotate around. Marine drop coming back in. Only a handful of Marines, but they can threaten SHIN. They do force him back. Maybe see a power bomb here onto this medevac. He's trying to shut this down. The Hydrogen is done. A Greater Spire on the way. So far, only responding with Queens. Getting a lot of damage done on this. Meanwhile, SHIN is maxing. And again, very important that SHIN does diversify his tech to make sure he's ready for a Hydra switch, a Broodlord switch. Does get eyes on the 5th, but can't quite touch it yet. This drop is going to be cleaned up. Now, I'm getting deja vu. We were in this exact same position last night on hard lead with SHIN versus ByuN, where ByuN had a really hard time expanding and SHIN eventually broke the center base with Broodlords. Now, SHIN is still a ways away from Broodlord tech. As we do see SHIN trying to pull ByuN apart. Going to be bleeding out a lot of roaches, but we want to get rid of them. We want to get rid of these roaches. We want to replace them with Ling Bane. SHIN looking for a fungal. Oh, does get a massive fungal on the Ghosts. 3 Ghosts go down. Big pick up. The Ghosts, they were caught out. We're getting on top of the tanks once again. Good snipes on 1 Ultra. Another tank goes down. As snipes go up, but we get 17 SCVs. Again, ByuN, he was ready here at his 5th, not at his 3rd. The Wiles, once again, almost get a CC. SHIN is going to back off, and we are transitioning into Corruptor, into Broodlords. The Greater Spire is done. 2nd Spire is on the way for 1-1 upgrades, for those air upgrades, I should say. SHIN double expanding, taking more bases. Now, just to reiterate from last night as well, I did see some of the chat. This is like, yeah, this is just like a repeat from last night. True, very true. Very similar game. I would say similar game. I would say that SHIN is in a better position this time. Like SHIN, he has done such a great job at catching these drops, catching these Marines. SHIN does feel more refined than last night, I'll be honest. But we'll see if ByuN can survive. We'll see if he can hold off. So far, the center base is up and running. He is mining. Being a little bit adventurous with this army. These Ultras are very low and they're going to get sniped. 2 Ultras go down. SHIN is still not remaxed, still lacking in gas. Does land one of those fungals, but we need more. We need more of these fungals, and we will connect. Up the Wiles. Decent connections. The Broodlords, they arrive just in time as well, forcing this back. And we're just buying time for those Broods. Behind this, Hydras are on the way. More Infestors as well. Broodlord Infestor, the composition of choice. We're still lacking Broodlord upgrades, but we're getting there. And likewise, we can see ByuN transitioning. So the way that this works, as I'm sure you're aware, the ideal late game mech composition, Terran composition is mech. It's going to be mech with Ghost to support. It's going to be tank, Thor, Lib, Ghost. ByuN is working on it. Now, ByuN's mech upgrades aren't ideal. He's got +3 vehicle weapons, but not +3 vehicle armor. Broodlord's going to be dipping in. Oh, files a takedown of the lid. See, I wonder if ByuN got in the same situation on purpose. ByuN's been having a harder time getting into this situation, is what I will say. And, I mean, I mentioned before that SHIN has had a much stronger time trading in the early game and in the mid game. Like, SHIN did get here in a much better position than he did last night, but we'll see if he can have the same success as Broodlords. They do dip in, getting a couple of SCVs. The Ghost count is looking a little bit stronger this time from ByuN, but this is a very exposed base. It's very wide open. Oh, we're yoink! We get one lib, we get a second lib just barely. Second Liberator does go down. We can see ByuN trying to sneak out the base on the left-hand side. Now, if this base can get up and running, that's going to be huge. It's going to be a big win for ByuN. Thors have arrived. The Ghosts are moving out towards the left-hand side, which means that creates an opening for the Broodlords. The Broods! Yoink some of these libs. The CC is going to go down. Mass snipes. Good snipes, so we have even better fungals. ByuN tries to hold on, losing a big chunk of his economy. The Broodlords, they come back in, and here comes the Link Bane. Good snipes here on the Broods. Link Bane rolls on in. We collapse on the Thors. The Ghosts are being saved. Good movement out of ByuN. Good movement out of ByuN, and he cleans up every single Broodlord. Again, just keeping those Ghosts on the other side of the Thors, using them as a wall. And ByuN, he's gaining ground. And he's forcing SHIN back. So ByuN, he may have lost a big chunk of his economy. Another CC! No! It's gonna burn down! 3, 2, 1. The CC does fall. So ByuN's economy is hurting. And he does kill a base, but SHIN, he has time, he has room to grow. Like, he has room to breathe, to rebuild, to remax. Interesting that he's remaxing on Link Bane Hydra, a very mobile composition. With this, he can die. But breaking these entrenched siege lines is going to be difficult without Broodlords. So it looks like SHIN was hoping that ByuN would keep pushing. Like, if ByuN, if he kept pushing onto creep, he would be surrounded, he'd be cleaned up. Like, SHIN would clean up and annihilate the army. But because ByuN backed up, this army from SHIN is not ideal. Here we go. We can see SHIN trying to find a way to dive in, but is denied. Another CC does land. And bottom left is getting up and running. And SHIN doesn't know. He threatens a dive. Looking at the vision here, yeah, SHIN, he does have an Inkling. Does have an Overlord here in the bottom left. He can see the mining. But I don't know if he himself has noticed, because he needs to do something about this. It's not even a planetary, it's an orbital. And we are muling so hard here. This is key. This is doing so much for ByuN. It's keeping his economy up, it's keeping it afloat, despite losing so many SCVs earlier. SHIN rotating around and doesn't quite get the base. We'll pull back. ByuN pushing on the left-hand side. Very little creep here, actually. Uh-oh. SHIN doesn't see this. Until now. SHIN rotating around. ByuN does see this. He's aware. Does maneuver with his ghosts. Good snipes as well. Again, ByuN, he does have the superior army. And SHIN is having a really hard time engaging. Spoke about this, but without spellcasters, without Broodlords, and here we go, the Broodlords are coming in. Oh, but they're getting caught out. ByuN's gonna be pulling back. Broodlord's taking a lot of damage. You do land a fungal though. A big fungal here on some of those ghosts. The Baileys, they will connect. ByuN, he did overextend. The Broodlords are gonna keep on pushing forward, and we do not get into the mineral line, just barely. SHIN backs off. That was a good fight for SHIN. Like, the arrival of the Broodlords was very necessary there. But again, this space is still up and running. We have a planetary on the way. Ay, ay, ay. Like, these trades are not good enough for SHIN. Not anymore. Not just because of this base, essentially. And ByuN is taking another, and SHIN cannot allow these CCs to get up and running. Instead, SHIN, he's hoping to win with like a head-on fight, but it's so difficult to pull that off. We can see ByuN rotating over towards the left-hand side. He's assuming that there's going to be an attack here at this fresh mining base. SHIN pushing forward once again. Scan reveals the position of the Broodlords. ByuN rotates over. Yeah, there we go. The fight going to occur here on the right-hand side. Spores are pushing forward. That will help against some of these libs. That will help with the... Yeah, the spores, they go down instantly. Decent abduction. Decent abduction here. It's ByuN. God, he is amassing his army. Oh god, so many Thors, so many of these Liberators as well. How many Broodlords do we have? 15. 15 Broods. That's not gonna be enough. Not in a head-to-head fight. We are getting a little bit of ground. And we're hoping for a big fungal. We do land one. The tanks are getting within range. Oh, the Broodlords, they're taking too much damage. We had 15, we're down to 10. We're down to 10 Broods. The Thor is doing too much damage, and SHIN, he's losing far too much here. He's a little bit too overzealous with those Broodlords, and SHIN has to back up, has to rebuild, and ByuN has established the space. Big moment for ByuN. He's forcing his way forward. And unlike the previous game, unlike last night, like ByuN, he has a good economy. He has a very strong economy right now. We go for a big dive. But the Broodlords are being focused down one after the other. ByuN, he can stand strong. He can deal with this. Yeah, he will clean this up. And SHIN loses everything. And with that, SHIN doesn't have a bank. GG gets pulled. ByuN fights back. ByuN takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Whew. ByuN does take the first game here, getting his revenge from last night. Can he go all the way though? Can he take the series again? Unlike the previous game, or unlike last night, it did look like SHIN was tunnel visioning. It looked like SHIN was hyper fixated, maybe overconfident, and hyper fixated on these main pushes. And last night, SHIN was going for constant run-bys. He was going for constant counterattacks and constant harass. And that wasn't happening here. SHIN had a good fight at the third base of ByuN, that is true, but he never did anything about bottom left. He never touched that base. It got up and running. It was just a fresh mining base, a full mining base for ByuN. And it allowed ByuN to sustain himself, to sustain his losses, and to snowball out of control. And SHIN just wasn't doing anything about it, and with that, ByuN takes it. Does take game 1, but now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. I may have been living up to some Euro rock, but who is SHIN and when did they get this good? SHIN has been around for a long time. SHIN is Ragnarok. Ragnarok, he name changed to SHIN how long ago? Like 8 months ago? Like less than a year, but over half a year. So quite a long time ago, Ragnarok did name change to SHIN. SHIN is his IRL name, for those who are unaware. It is his IRL name, or part of his IRL name. Here we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. Ooh, taking game 1, it is ByuN. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Mystery Gaming. Falling a little bit behind in the series, looking to fight back, it is SHIN. Going for a 15-15. Interesting. So SHIN is very fond of this. I spoke about this, if you recall me, casting Raynor last week. Raynor is very fond of 15-15s. So is SHIN, the two of them. It's going to be 15 hatch into a 15 spawning pool. It is a bit of a greedy way to play, and it can be punished by something like a 2-rack. So we'll see if Shin can keep this up. As ByuN is going for a 2-racks opener, 2-racks Reaper out of ByuN. Ooh, my apologies. Okay, we're going for a proxy 3rd racks. Mass Reaper out of ByuN. And with something like a 15-15, okay, so for those that are curious, what this build does for the Zerg is that you get fast queens. You get fast queens, but your link speed is delayed. And that means, well, that's kind of crucial here, because link speed is very necessary to clean up these Reapers and to establish a 3rd base. Without link speed, ByuN can contain SHIN for a long time. He can contain SHIN for quite some time, and ByuN can expand behind this. This is not all in out of ByuN. It's aggressive, yes, but you do typically expand behind this. As ByuN is going to be amassing Reapers, again, his like kind of minimal goal, like the minimum that he needs here is to deny the 3rd, but he's going to be looking for queens and drone kills. Like, ideally, ByuN wants more damage. 3rd base is soon to be on the way. ByuN dips in. Here we go. Reapers, they have revealed themselves. 3rd base still not taken. ByuN does confirm that. He confirms the lack of 3rd. Doesn't find the drone. And he is just amassing more and more Reapers. Here we go. Meanwhile, again, we already have those first 2 queens. We have a 3rd and 4th queen about to pop out as well. Again, this is the power of a 15-15. Link speed is now in production, but it's still a ways away. ByuN going to be dipping on forward here, trading with the queens. Can he get one? Does deal a lot of damage. There's that expansion on the way for ByuN. As we mentioned, again, this is not all in. You transition out of this. 3rd base now on the way. Can ByuN deny it? As he's going to rotate around. Dancing with the queens instead. Knocked him off for a moment here. Do we have a couple of transfuse? We do. Another queen's getting very low. Clutch transfuse, barely keeping them alive. ByuN is being forced back. Again, ByuN is tunnel visioning a little bit here, but can he make it worth it? Can he get the queen? Up! They're so low. They are so very low, and ByuN, he's breaking through. Gets 1 queen, gets almost a 2nd. Link speed just finishes up in time. And SHIN will clean this up. God, that was so close. The queens were almost broken. Any second later, like, give ByuN 2 more seconds. Give him 2 more seconds and he kills the queens. But he gets surrounded. He gets cleaned up. Good movement here out of SHIN. He's going for a big counterattack. But back at home, we're transitioning into our add-ons. Tech Lab. Reactors are on the way for Stim, for combat shields. Meanwhile, 3rd base to get up and running. Remember, ByuN, he wasn't quite able to spot this 3rd until he was kiting back with the Reapers, so he wasn't able to deny it. Instead, ByuN chose to leave the 3rd base alone and go for the natural. Now, SHIN is going for the correct move. Because this 3rd is so late, take a 4th. Double expand. SHIN essentially is double expanding to catch back up. And SHIN is in a good position. He got away with quite a lot here. Remember, the bare minimum that ByuN was looking for was to cancel the 3rd. And he didn't. He did delay it, but he didn't cancel it. So the 3rd gets up and running, 4th is on the way, and the queen count is healthy. Looking at the resources lost tab, we traded 1 for 1. 10 lings for 10 reapers, and only 1 queen went down. This was a good defense. This was a good defense from SHIN. Rocks are being knocked down, and ByuN is transitioning. He's going for a 3rd CC before factory. So a very economic follow-up here, as ByuN recognizes that he didn't get enough done. So he's trying to be as greedy as possible. Interesting. Okay, so behind this, he's going for 5 racks before starport. So he's delaying his starport by quite a lot. This essentially means that ByuN is going to be quite late when it comes to his move out. It means that he's not going to be moving out anytime soon. He's going to be waiting for 1-1, Stim. The medevacs are delayed essentially, so the push is delayed. ByuN is going to be stuck here on 2 bases for quite some time, which means SHIN, he's free to drone. He's free to saturate his bases, spread his creep, drone up his 3rd, drone up his 4th. Get it all done. from here, Shin, honestly, he can join up to 80. Like, he can join up to 80 and take a 5th. We'll see if he does embrace that. We shall see, as Lings are going to be just testing the waters here, rotating around, getting eyes on the 3rd. Good morning, Dazzy. Good morning. Ooh, we're going for a Bane Bust. Oh my god, okay, Shin. Cutting workers at 71, not joining up to 80. He's amassing Banelings, looking to try to bust into the natural. There are no tanks, there are no Widow Mines. The Marines are being dragged out of position, and here comes the Bane Bust from Shin. He's going for the wall, going for the depot. He does waddle in towards the middle line. He will not make it in. Oh, pretty good defense actually from ByuN. Did lose his wall, but that was a little bit haphazard out of Shin. A little bit disjointed. He's going for another bust. He's not stopping. I'm concerned. Again, that wasn't an efficient fight, and I mean, he will have Baneling speed. Baneling speed will be ready this time. Oh, but the tank does arrive. Oh, Shin bleeding out a lot of Lings. Not like this. He's going for the Marines, but the tank does get a lot of volleys off, and Shin is droning. He's droning up behind this. Now he takes a 5th base. So this 5th and these drones could have been on the way a minute ago. Like, before the first Bane Bust. The bust wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it for Shin, and ByuN is clawing his way back into this. Like, he's getting his 4th now up and running, as Shin gets a 5th. Like, these were some good fights and some good trades for ByuN. As now Shin is going to be droning, working up towards Hydras. So Ling Bane Hydra. Gases are being taken. But again, Shin could have been here a little bit earlier. ByuN is going to be maneuvering out here with his double drop. A good target firing here by ByuN. Gets a couple of Banelings. Does pick up, does get the hell out of there. Let's get out of there. Going to be threatening a dive into the main base. Going to be threatening the 5th base as well. Shin trying to keep up. There we go. Drop is going to be revealed. You have Shin in position. Behind this, Hive is on the way, and basically the game is going to be settling down. Like, ByuN is going to be threatening with drops. He's going to be fortifying himself. Shin being cheeky, taking the gold base. Oh my god. Risky move here out of Shin. We'll see if he can get away with it. Meanwhile, ByuN, he's maxing out. Like, he's fortifying himself on 4 bases. A very, very stable 4-base setup here on Golden Aura. Getting into Bio Tank. Ghost production on the way. 2 more CCs as well to expand. Take a 5th. ByuN is looking pretty comfortable. Like, yes, Shin is maxed, but Shin is going to have a hard time pushing into this. He should have a hard time pushing it. With Vipers, Shin can break these siege lines, but we don't have Vipers yet. Still lacking those Vipers. Sensor Tower is going to be knocked out. Shin going to be pulling back here to have that Greater Spire on the way. And ByuN is just working on more CCs. Oh my god. Gold base hasn't been scattered, I believe. So, like, on the one hand, ByuN has been just fortifying himself on 4 bases and maxing out, but this does mean that Shin has free map control. And it does mean that Shin has free reign to expand and do stuff like this, like take the gold without any issue. So it was really wise of Shin to take this base, and he's getting away with it. Double drop still being active. We're still just building up here towards 3-3. Tank count getting higher and higher. I don't think it would be wise for Shin to try to push into any of these positions yet. Just like the previous game, he's waiting for the 5th. And Shin, he's waiting for the 5th base to be taken, and then he can try to punish that 5th base instead. Scan reveals the Lingbane. Oh, do yoink. Do shut down the Medivac. Nice pick up there for my SHIN, but by this point, like, ByuN didn't really care too much about that drop. And what he cares about is this 5th CC. There we go. Turret, Sensor Tower, CC's on the way, soon to be planetaries. Scans, does get eyes on the gold. And SHIN, this is the moment where he has to try to break this position. As he tries to move in, ByuN knocking down these lings. Delay his opponent. Tank's gonna be going down. We get 1, we get 2. Good pick us. 2 tanks do go down. SHIN gonna rotate around instead. Looking for a way into this mineral line. Okay, he's aware of the 5th. Where are we headed? Does have to be careful not to bleed out too much. does have to take care. Waiting for 3-3. No additional tech yet. We have a greater spire, but no ultra cavern. And here we go for the 5th base. Yeah, we collapse here on the planetary. Big EMPs here on the Vipers. But the blinding clouds are already thrown down, and the planetary will fall. We get the planetary, and we force a cancel on another CC. Alongside 7 SCVs. Not a bad fight here for SHIN, but I mean, I say that he does plummet in supply. He has some remaxing to do. And there it is. Corruptors. Soon to be Broodlords. Broodlords are going to be on the way, but we're already building up towards Thors and tanks. So just like the previous game, ByuN working towards Thor tank lib ghost. It's going to be ByuN's composition. Meanwhile, SHIN has to get out of Lingbane Hydra. Lingbane Hydra is not efficient enough, not against this army. We spoke about this before, but Lingbane Hydra is a really good composition to fight onto creep and to trade with bio, not to push into tank lines. Not like this. As ByuN is retaking that 5th CC. Likewise, SHIN is going to need eyes here on top right. Now, there are significantly less bases to take for the Terran. There's like 1 extra base here for ByuN. So this map is more congested. It's a little bit more difficult to really get into a longer game. Oh, just sustain yourself in a longer game. Maybe a better way to put it, but here we go. The Broodlords have arrived. Do we have any Infestors? No. Ooh, no Infestors, no Fungals. Broodlords are pushing forward. Big snipes go off. We have 10 Broodlords left. Take down the tank. Pushing forward. Again, the snipes going up again. Barely doesn't kill a Broodlord, but now the Broodlords are finally going to be going down. 2, 3 Broodlords. Snipes out of ByuN. Again, there's just no Fungal to really punish those ghosts. He got 5 Broodlords. There's only 5 left. But here we go. SHIN once again collapsing with his ground army. Going to Liberators, rolls in with his Lingbane. And we do take down some of the ghosts. And 21 SCVs. That's what's important. At the same time, a drop here towards the north. Going to be dragging SHIN back home. Big snipes here. SHIN getting pulled out of position. SHIN gets sunk down to 3 Broodlords. Gonna have to rebuild. But overall, I think that SHIN is in a better position. As he gets us around on some of these units, does trade with some of the ghosts, with Lings. Even though ByuN, he's resetting the Broodlord count, that is true. ByuN, he lost a lot of workers. He just lost, what? It was 19 SCVs? It was crazy. A lot of workers did just go down. And SHIN is remaxing, he's doing it again. And the Thors are so low. Yeah, Thor's going to be falling. We are going to be pushing it towards these Liberators as well. 2 more Thors have arrived. Good target firing here on the Vipers. Vipers get picked off. These Corruptors are overextending. SHIN, can he break through? He barely is. He's barely breaking through. The Bailings, they head towards the Ghost. The Ghost will survive. SHIN has to pull back. But here come the Hydras. And SHIN, he doesn't want to stop. SHIN is rallying everything across the map, and he is barely breaking the army here of ByuN. Takes down the tanks, takes down the ghosts. Oh, and he gets barely one more tank. Likewise, behind this, gets into the mineral line. Good sniping here with some of these medevacs. Lings are rallying into that 5th base. It's a planetary, sorry, it's not a planetary, which means we can break through. Yeah, ByuN is being pulled apart. The goal base this time working in favor of SHIN. GG gets called. ByuN cannot keep up. And SHIN will take game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Whew. Again, on Golden Aura, SHIN, he was able to gain a lot of map control because of the opener. Remember, winding the clock back. A lot of StarCraft does, like, openers are pretty important. And the early game is very important as well in StarCraft. And remember, ByuN, his 3-Rax Reaper didn't really pay off. Wasn't really ideal. Oh. As we are getting ready for this. We're getting ready for our next game, and I may have a co-caster. Oh. Oh. Do you want to join Papi? Okay, we'll see. We'll see. As we're getting into the ace match, getting into game number 3. But yeah, speaking about that last game again, when it came to what was occurring between ByuN and SHIN, SHIN, he gained a lot of map control really early on because of the failed proxy 3-Rax or the failed 3-Rax build of his opponent. And as a result, things, they got out of hand, they got out of control. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of our Kione, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the South Korean Zerga player, the Red Zerg, representing Mystery Gaming. It is SHIN. There we go. But yeah, SHIN, he had so much more map control and so much more freedom to just expand, take the goal base, take every base that he ever wanted, and take every base that he ever wanted. And with that, SHIN, he was the one that got out of hand. He was able to trade, was able to exploit the more exposed 5th base of ByuN and take advantage of the map. And with that, we're getting into the ace match. Now, for the finals, I will be joined by Chicken Man. We'll be casting the finals together, just as a heads up. For those that are curious, because I know that Masters Coliseum is starting as we speak, we will cast Masters Coliseum after ESL Asia. We will finish ESL Asia first, and then we will cast Masters Coliseum. That is the plan. That is the plan. As we do see SHIN going for a standard hatch gas pool, getting into his builds, getting into his opener. And behind this, ByuN going for another 2-Rax, this time with no proxy. This time no proxy from ByuN. As we are just going to be settling into this. And we'll see if ByuN can achieve a little bit more here with this opener. So this 2-Rax Reaper, very similar to the previous game. His goal here is to delay the 3rd base and to contain SHIN. That's his goal. Because it's only 2-Rax, he shouldn't be investing too hard. He should be cutting Reapers at 3. He could go up to 5 Reapers if he wanted to be a little bit spicier, but we'll see. We shall see as the Reaper does dip in towards that natural. Lings have arrived though, gonna be forcing this back. The Queen is a couple of seconds away. And the drone's looking a little bit exposed. Oh my god. The drone barely does survive. And ByuN will pull back. Back, it does want to try to tango with these queens. Meanwhile, SHIN taking the gold. Let's go. Gold base is on the way for SHIN. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. as he is racing into that gold. So far, ByuN is unaware. He's going for a third CC before... Oh, sorry, third CC before Starport, not before Factory. Reapers, they get into the main. They get one drone. One drone does get picked off. Good pick off here by ByuN. And it would be better if he knew about the third base. He did check that linear third. He checked the triangular third as well, but he is not checking the gold. He doesn't know. Doesn't know that SHIN's economy is about to boom. And that these Reapers didn't do as much as he thought. Link speed is done. We can see SHIN looking for those Reapers. But again, really good positioning out of ByuN. Does manage to escape. Does manage to pull back. Behind this, as I mentioned, it's going to be 3cc 2-1-1. So we're going to be eventually moving out with a double drop of Marines. 16 Marines with Stim with Medivacs. They'll be on the way in a minute or so. Which means SHIN has time to set this up. There we go. We're going to be droning heavily here. Saturating the gold. It's going to be on SHIN to spread as much creep as he can. He has to spread creep. He needs to connect these bases to keep them safe here from the medevac drop. Again, ByuN is going to be quite maneuverable with this, as 2 medevacs are on the way. And SHIN is still back at home droning. Still droning up. He's going for a Roach one, which makes sense. He wants to be the defender. He wants to take advantage of this gold and hold on to it. It's not going to be an all-in. It could be if we just cut workers and commit. It's possible. But I imagine SHIN just wants to get into a more secure mid-game. We shall see. So we have ByuN pushing on the left-hand side. Moving out with a handful of Marines. Only a handful. Moving out with 10 Marines instead of 16. Supporting his armor with Reapers instead. Now this means that this does hit a little bit faster than normal. It's pushing towards the natural. And SHIN not in position. Yeah, the drop does come in. Yeah, SHIN just completely out of position, not ready for this. Drone's going to be going down. 3 workers, 4 workers already. And we deny so much mining time. This is getting out of hand. This is getting out of control. The Queens are going to be going down as well. We get 1, we get 2, and can we end the game with this? We could. Here come the reinforcements. The Roaches, they finally come out as well. And we go for a 3rd Queen. This is too much. 3 Queens and 5 drones. Ay, ay, ay. Again, SHIN was just not in position. He didn't see the drop coming out. He was actually at his 3rd. He wasn't at his natural. And ByuN is getting too much damage done with this. And now he's aware of the gold. Now he checks. Now he knows. Now, on one hand, because we have the gold base, SHIN can afford some of these losses, so he's not in as a bad position as he otherwise would be. That is true. I do have to, like, bring that into mind, the fact that he has the gold. So he can, you know, have a bit of a better economy, and he can reinforce a little bit better as well. But still, losing 3 Queens was brutal. 4 Queens, sorry. Not even 3. And with that, ByuN, he has momentum. He has momentum. He's going to keep it up. Going to be reinforcing with another drop. And we'll see if ByuN can find even more damage. For now, though, he's just chilling back at home, working on tanks, 2nd factory, which means 4th CC. Roach is going to be, they're going to be forcing this back. ByuN coming in towards that goal base. He wants another Queen. Doesn't quite get it. Whew, that was close. Doesn't quite get it here as SHIN, he pushes towards the 3rd base, takes down a tank. We'll get a couple of deepers. Not bad. It's 2 deepers, gets a tank. He can threaten this 3rd base as well. He is transitioning behind this into double Evo chamber into infestation pits. He's trading quite nicely. Shaving off a lot of these Marines, forcing the boys to be pulled as well. He wants a tank, and he's gonna get it. The tank goes down. Big pickup. It's gonna be a costly trade as the Ravagers get surrounded, but we even get 9 SCVs as well. A good counterattack here by SHIN. May have lost 4 Queens. He does kill, and 6 workers as well, but he does kill 10 SCVs. Behind this, Fast Hive. Interesting choice. We're also investing into range, not melee, which means it's not going to be Ling Bane. It is going to be Roach Ravager into Hydra Lurker. Interesting choice. Okay, so SHIN is mixing it up. As we do see the Lurker Den in production. SHIN just focusing on getting up his Ling Roach Ravager. Do you have a double drop into the natural base? This time SHIN is in position with a handful of units. We'll lose 1, 2. Oh, loses a lot of drones though. 4 workers go down. At the same time, ByuN pushing here towards the goal base, and SHIN is being pulled apart. He was caught completely off guard, and ByuN, he's snowballing out of control. He gets 17, 21 drones. SHIN was doing well recovering, but this is too much damage. Ay, ay, ay. 28 workers go down. Not like this. And yes, SHIN is taking up into Hydra Lurker, but this all gets scouted, it all gets spotted by ByuN. He's aware. And he's still being active with these drops. Again, this is the downside of taking this goal base. It's so far out in the open, it's so difficult to split up your army and defend. And SHIN is down to 62 drones, as opposed to the 85 of ByuN. ByuN is looking quite comfortable, like quite healthy here with his worker count. ByuN is pretty far behind at this point. Now, SHIN can come back. He can come back with his Lurker play. That is possible. Scans the main, sees the Hive, is aware of Hydra Lurker Viper. He is aware. ByuN is going to be amassing his army here in the center of the map, working on Ghosts, Liberators, refining his army even further. This is where he can be much more aggressive this time. ByuN is going to be going towards that natural once again. Just constantly dropping him in this location. This time though, finally, SHIN does force him back. At the same time, drop here towards that 4th, towards the 5th even. SHIN able to swat him away. So SHIN is trying to stabilize. He hasn't stabilized yet. Ooh, heavily supplied block. 5 overlords on the way. Brutal. Creep is being denied. ByuN taking his own gold. He knows that there's nothing stopping ByuN from expanding. He is free to just take whatever bases he wants. SHIN is stuck at home, building up his army. And he will eventually get into Lurkers, that's true, but because he got scattered, ByuN is going to have tanks, Liberators, and Ghosts. Like, he has an answer to Lurkers. He's fine. It's going to take more than just an army composition for SHIN to break through. Once he's able to max out SHIN, he needs to gain map control. He needs to try to punish some of these fringe bases here of ByuN. Oh god, but the bile! Oh my god! The biles! We take down 2 full medevacs. This is a good start. This is a good beginning of the comeback here. Ooh, 1 Lurker gets sniped. The best trade, but getting 2 full medevacs is it's something. It's a start. The journey begins with the first step here, and the first step has been taken. We see SHIN pushing forward, catching some of these exposed tanks. Ooh, the Lurkers though quite exposed themselves, and 2 Lurkers go down. We got a 3rd Lurker as well. This was an expensive trade here for SHIN. Losing 3 Lurkers for not much damage. At the same time, Liberator's still wreaking havoc. Getting 9 worker kills. Lib was cleaned up. Massive amount of snipes here on those Ravagers. Oh, likewise, snipes on the Ghost Pappy. We sniped the Ravagers, we sniped the Roaches, we sniped the Lurkers as well. Again, SHIN still hasn't recovered. He still doesn't have a bank to work with either. Shin still refining his army, getting into Infestors, Spire, soon to be Greater Spire. Now, basically what Shin needs is a solid fight. He needs to get into these Infestors. If he can fungal, if he can catch all these ghosts, I mean, just like that, we can swing things in Shin's favor. Otherwise, if we can get into a mineral line, if we can pull off a run by, maybe pushing in towards, like, in between the natural and the third, for example. Or working towards the fourth base. But before that, ByuN is pushing right through the center. And Shin is having a hard time. He yoinks one ghost. Let's pick off one ghost in the end, which, I mean, it helps. Something. Greater Spires on the way for Broodlords. We yoink two of those tanks. Not bad. Snipe's going to be connecting. Ooh. With Roaches. Bit of miscontrol there from Shin. Now burrowing and using even more. I think he was just trying to burrow his lurkers. Here we go. ByuN, he's just pushing even more forward with his tank line, with his lib line, with his turrets. Another base is being taken. This is a base that Shin has to do something about. But right now he's hyper fixated here on the main push. We're gonna yoink whatever we can, but we get like one ghost and one medevac. It's not enough. And ByuN is just bullying back this army. Yeah, these lurkers, they don't really cut it. Not anymore. They are outscaled. Lurkers can be good in the mid game, but here in the late game, they, on their own, they can't really achieve too much. Oh, a decent fungal. Oh, the chain fungal, Papi. Let's go. Ooh, even filing. I think we got, I want to say 4 or 5 ghosts. Pretty good. Pretty good trade. And here we go. We have 8 Broodlords on the way. The scan reveals the broods. Thor production underway. A couple of productions. We have some yoinks. We snipe one of those Vipers. This hatchery is going to go down. ByuN is content. He backs off. Regroups. Does refine his army, making room for more Thors and more Liberators. Again, mech ghost is what he wants. Just like the just like game 1. Meanwhile, top left is up and running. We're working towards even further top left. His bases are uncontested. And ByuN even expanding towards the bottom right as well. Well, the map is being cut in half, and this is favoring ByuN. He's just free to take more and more bases. Planetary is already on the way. Shin, unfortunately, he doesn't see. He doesn't see the CC being thrown down on location. And ByuN, he does get eyes on this. See, ByuN, he scans the base. He sees it's exposed and he's going for a drop. He's just going for a counterattack here to deny this base. Shin just doesn't have the freedom to do so. He's going for his own committed push here towards the planetary. 5 save and queens. And Thorn tank drop takes down this top base. There's no saving the hatchery. Meanwhile, can the lurkers take down the planetary? Oh! One more! We do. Planetary goes down, trading a base for a base, which is still better for ByuN. ByuN is still in a better position. As he has a massive bank to work with. Top left, fully operational. Shin is now aware. But at this point, it's too late to really do much about it, as it's about to become a planetary. More Broodlords on the way. And again, ByuN, he's in full control at the moment. He's in full control. Now, just because he's in full control doesn't mean that he can just, like, aim move across the map. That's not how this works. He starts to be very careful as he has a delicate army to micro. SCVs are being thrown away. Good snipe's going to be going up. We have ByuN rotating over towards the left-hand side. Here we go. The Goats. They push towards the goal base once again, shutting it down. Same time, Thor dropped towards the north. Decent files. One Thor will go down, and we can abduct some more of these units here. Oh my god, almost losing that Viper. Overall, a good cleanup here by SHIN. Takes down the Thors, takes down a Ghost. Meanwhile, ByuN still taking advantage of this position. He's going to take down this center base. SHIN is reinforcing a little bit further here towards the left-hand side, so it looks like he does want to push towards his planetary, but the planetary has 2 tanks to support it. Can SHIN break through? I mean, he needs to, but can he? Oh, the Vipers! Oh, brutal. We do blind encounter the tanks, though, which could just be enough. The Bathing Save roll in, and then we'll crash into the mineral line. 16 SCVs go down, 25 workers go down. Oh my god. Reinforcements do arrive, but we do shut down the economy. We do shut down the mineral line. A good run by here by SHIN, but it does feel like we needed this earlier. And I mean, ByuN is already throwing away workers. He already doesn't care about his worker counts. He cares about mules. And sure, SHIN, he may have killed the mineral line, but ByuN is going to kill a base. Base will fall. Likewise, ByuN gaining ground towards the south. They'll scan the Broodlord army. How many Broodlords do we have? 12. It's an okay Broodlord count. It's okay. Pushing forward. Yeah, they can trade very nicely here against the Ling Bane. Oh, the Vipers! Oh, my massive catch here. 1, 2 Vipers get picked up. A third Viper as well. SHIN is being pulled apart at this point. We have the Ghost Army in the center. Big EMP here on those investors. Additional Vipers are on the way, but good kiting here out of ByuN. At the same time, this one Lib going ham. We have detection. ByuN does overextend, but he takes out another base, another full mining base as well. 16 SCVs. Sorry, 18 drones, I should say. SHIN trying desperately to expand here on the right-hand side. Meanwhile, ByuN is still just rolling on in. 4 tanks in a dream. Thanks. 4 Thors in a dream. SHIN should be able to deal with this with his Broodlords. As he forces back the Thors, though. ByuN going to be pulling SHIN left and right, pushing towards the right-hand side. The Broodlords are out of position. They're fighting toe-to-toe with the Thors, and we do focus on 1, 2, 3 Broods. A lot of Broods are going down. Not a good trade here for SHIN. And he just cannot keep up. He's been on the back foot almost the entire game. Ever since SHIN lost all those drones, when we had a drop in the natural and a drop at the goal base, like SHIN just was not able to recover from that moment. That was the moment when ByuN took control. And he never let it go. Broodlords are finally coming in. ByuN taking another base. Does have eyes on the fresh mining bases here of SHIN. Snipe's going to be going up. These Broods are so softened up. We have 5 Broodlords left. We have 4 Broodlords left. And GG gets called. We don't even have a major fight here as SHIN just runs out of money, runs out of steam, and ByuN will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to ByuN as he does take down his opponent. Does advance on, and he gets his revenge. Remember, SHIN took down ByuN last night 2-0 in Masters Coliseum, but here in ESL Asia, ByuN does get his revenge. And with that, we are going to the ace match. We're going to the finals. And I'm not too sure who is waiting in the finals. Let's have a look.